What's your resting heart rate at?
I was curious about that as well.
My resting heart rate is 36.
Oh,
But that's
Wow.
like that's like when I'm sleeping. So I don't know. Like, I think like when I'm awake, it's around like 42.
Oh my gosh.
so it doesn't jump up that much when you're awake. That's interesting.
Yeah, obviously, like depend like what you're
Yeah,
doing,
yeah,
but
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah, that's pretty low.
Yeah.
That makes sense though, right? Do you do
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole thing I've been training my
yeah,
whole
yeah, your
life.
whole life. Have you ever
Just
have you
my
ever
whole
done
life.
have you ever done
Yeah.
VO2 max?
No, like there's VO2 dot charts where based off of PRs and times, I don't know if you've heard of the coach Jack Daniels, but he kind of has the blueprint. I think he was a coach in like the 80s, but the rough blueprint for like the V dot chart. And I've kind of looked at that, but I've never done any like lactate threshold testing where, you do a workout and you prick your finger or your ear and you get like
Yeah.
the lactate levels in your blood. And if it's too high, then you stop. If it's low enough, then you do another rep, which again, there's like a lot of science backing that up too. But you got to pick a method and stick to it.
Who would you say has been your biggest influences on your training? Is it like some coaches you had, or how did you kind of get the philosophy behind how you train?
Yeah, I've been really fortunate with good coaches because, yeah, there's no doubt that like a bad coach can kind of screw you up, and hopefully not screw up your career, but it can screw up your high school, which then could affect what college you go to. But I've been, yeah, very fortunate. My high school coach was very low miles. In high school, I was running 30 miles a week and just a lot of speed training. Where then I jumped to college and I jumped up a little bit, maybe to 60 miles, 65 miles a week. And in 2 years, my mile time went from 405 to 350, which like on paper is just ridiculous. Like, I don't know, people were definitely, skeptical, like what is going on? Like, how does that happen? But to me, it was obvious. Like I was just, you know, undertrained in high school, but I'm happy with the training I had because you don't want to get injured either. So, by the time I got to college, I was in a perfect place to develop. But up until college, like my dad was involved and he was pulling things from, different coaches and, helping my high school coach come up with these workouts. And, I keep going back to it, but they're all like speed based and never neglected that speed. And then I moved on to college and, I went to the University of Oregon and the distance coach was actually new there. It was his second year there. And he had like a pretty good record. He coached at Virginia Tech before going to Oregon and he coached like a ton of All-Americans, like quite a few national champions. But he was kind of always a developmental coach where he'd take pretty good high school runners and make them great college runners. And then when he got to Oregon, he got his hands on great high school runners and great college runners already. And now he had to make them, the best college runners and professional runners. And so it's kind of like, well, we'll see where this goes. But luckily me and him clicked and, he's still my coach now. And he actually got the job back at Virginia Tech. And that's why I'm here in Virginia. And he has his own method where he's been coaching for over 20 years, probably almost 30 years now. But I'm not sure exactly where he pulls it from, but he's kind of a wizard with it at this point. And something me and my training partner, I don't know if you know who Cooper Tier is, but he's also signed to Nike and was running with me at Oregon and still training with me. But story we always tell is we had this indoor mile race in college. It was my sophomore year. And I think Cooper had run a 355 mile before that, and I had run a 358. Coach lays out our race plan, and it's on a piece of paper, and it's lap splits, and we add them all up, and the total finish time is 3:52, and we're both like looking at each other like, what what is he expecting? And that was a collegiate record, was 3:52 point something. And so it was like the goal was to get the collegiate record. And we're like, okay, like this man's smoked. Like we'll see what we can do. And yeah, like we run the race and we both run 3:50, and we're just like,
Wow.
from that point on, we're kind of like, he's seen enough workouts and seen enough athletes where he knows this person's in that shape, before the gun even goes off. So that was kind of telling and kind of cemented that like trust. But yeah, that was a pretty cool moment.
If you guys like that clip, check out the whole podcast here and make sure to hit that subscribe button.